So the idea is we want to move this background to create the illusion that the ship is moving, because we don't want the ship to move. We want to keep those and also the enemies. So let's start with that, I guess. Let's start with that. The idea is we will create, well, okay, so what we'll do is we'll have multiple backgrounds like this that are moving down, and then when touched by a collider, we destroy it once it's outside the camera view, and we spawn a new one. That's the idea. For that, we'll need, first of all, let's make a game manager script. And then an empty object that will hold this. We'll do it in the game manager, this moving backgrounds. Now you can see that that texture it's seamless, so it does not, it looks like it's not repeated. That's what we want. Sorry, one second, loading the Visual Studio. Sorry about that. Okay. Okay. Let's add the script to our empty object. But now I'm looking at this, and I realized that we actually want to put the script on the background. Okay, so let's do that. Let's make another script here with that background. Okay. While that loads, let's make a collider that will collide with the background and destroy it once it's outside the view. Okay. So let's make a 2D object. Reason is why why do we not make an empty object? We do it so that the collider will set its size to the exact size of this square, because otherwise we have to set it manually. So for this we want the box collider 2D. In this case we don't care about physics, so trigger works. Let's call this background. And now we have to move that background until it is outside the view. But first I'd like to resize this on the x-axis a little bit, because the way it was on different resolution, it might not cover the whole screen. Okay, so now we have to move it outside the view, exactly outside the view, something like that, and then we'll move our collider there, here at the end of the background. Now we have to resize it. It's not necessary, but I like to resize it a little bit like that. We can disable the sprite renderer. We don't want to see this. You see this is automatically the size of the sprite, so we don't have to do anything. And let's give it a tag here. Call it background collide. So we want that background to collide with this specific category. Okay, now what we need to do is duplicate that. But I'd like to see the size of this image sprites. because we want, okay, I wanted to make sure that the pixels per unit are exactly the size of that, so that, so we know how to arrange this. Okay, so let's add the size of that, which is 3 to this. Let's say plus 3. No, does not work. Okay, that's not an issue. Let's do it manually. Something like that. Let's do one more, actually. Uh, okay. And now we have to make a script for those. So when they touch the collider, they get deleted, and then they will spawn a new background here. So we have to save this position from the one on the top. Okay, so let's do that. First of all, let's add the script to all of these backgrounds. And in here, we might need a rigid body actually, but it might need a rigid body for this. Yeah, let's put a rigid body on those. 2D, not dynamic. We want this to move only by script. So we'll set it to kinematic here. Constraints, we don't care about those because this will not have physics. But we need to add a box collider to this box collider 2D. Now it is not the exact size for some reason, but if I do this, oh wait, no, we need to check the size of this. In here, 3 on the X and 2 on the Y. So now we can go here and say 3 here and 2 here on the Y. But now we have it stretches to the correct size. Also, this should be trigger, no physics. So now in here, we need to get the rigid body. So say private rigid body to be. In the start function, we get it from the object and place it in the variable. So again, the rigid body is what gives physics to the object. And at the start, we want to set this to a certain velocity. So we'll say public this time because we want to modify this in the inspector float move speed. So this will be the move speed. And then we'll say rigid body linear velocity y in this case because in 2D now on the newer version of Unity you can select specifically the y or the x of this velocity. So we'll say minus move speed because we want this to go down. Okay, that bit we can delete that, and then we can say void on trigger enter 2D. So on collision that is not physics based. Then we check if we collided with that background collider. So we need to say collision. Yes, collision. Compare tag. So we check if the tag is this. We want the tag to be background collider. And if that is the case, we want to destroy this one and spawn a new one at that position here on the top. So we have to save this position. So I'll just actually it's 2024.9 on the Y. Let's make actually a vector 3 here public. We'll say spawn position. Now we can copy the position from the one on the top here. Right click copy, and we can set it in the inspector. But I do not see it for some reason, so I think I made a mistake somewhere. Yes, here there is a mistake. So, we need the prefab of this background actually to spawn it. So we're going to say public game object background prefab. So here we spawn the new background. So 28, that means spawn. We first specify which object, so this one, the background prefab. The position will be the spawn position, and then the rotation, say quaternion identity, that in other words means no rotation, 0, 0, 0, no dimensions of the rotation, and only after we spawned it we destroy this object. So say destroy game over. Okay, so this will create the illusion that the ships are moving. So we need the two things now, actually two things. The move speed, we have to set it to a value. We need to specify the spawn position and make a prefab for, from the background. So first let's do the position. So copy, go to our script, paste here. Now the moves, we will have to play with that, and then we have to make a prefab. I do not have a folder for that, so we have to create it. Prefabs. Okay, I'll just drag this here. Now we can place that prefab on all of these. And it's time to test now and see if it works. Make sure that the background collider has the tag. Okay, and also I'd like this here to not be in the hierarchy like this. I like this to be children of a parent. So we just say here background. Actually, can we add it to the collider maybe? We could add it to the collider actually. But let's test it first. Okay, let's see if this works. Okay, it should move slowly. Okay, let's see. Okay, so we have our first issue here. Or no? No? Okay, we have an okay. The variable background prefab is not assigned. So somewhere in here this is not assigned. So let's close this. See if we're missing that from. Looks to me that oh, okay. Oh, yes. So you see the issue here is when we spawn this one here in the scene work, this have that prefab, but the prefab itself does not have itself here. It's missing. So I have to drag that in here so that it will spawn itself. Okay, that was the issue. This is the difficult part of the game, to make this after that issue. Easy. Seems to work correctly. Yep, it does work. We might have to play with the speed, maybe make it a little slower, but it is working. So let's start with the player. If you're okay, let's see ships. Bunch of assets here. Okay. Okay, 1 second, guys. I want to see all of this before continuing. Animations, search, void main ship. You see that? This is nice. I cannot find the sprites in here, so I guess we'll use another one. This one looks nice. Let's use this. So we have multiple sprites in here, but I don't know why. Why do we have multiple sprites in here? Oh, I see. This one is a little exhaust, but we use R1. R1. So first, let's say multiple and divide this. Automatic works because we just need one of them. We don't need all of them. But we need to set in here, because this is pixel art, in here filter mode to point. These are blurry because it tries to combine the pixels to make the image look smoother, but we don't want that. Okay, now let's make a 2D sprite. Add our sprite. Now the background is on layer 0 in the sprite renderer, so we want the ship to be on top, so let's say 1 for that. Let's place it in the camera view. It's very small. Let's change that to something like that. Maybe that's too big. 3. Okay, we'll call this actually we might want to have multiple types of ships in this game, so that's called green ship. Okay, so if you want to have multiple types of ships, then we must have a script for what they have in common, and then a script for the specific behavior. Okay, so we need to make 2 scripts for that. One we call player, and then the other one we'll call a green ship, like, because I don't know how to name it, so just okay. So I think for the player at this moment, we just want to have some HP, maybe some UI somewhere that displays the HP. But before that, I have here some assets for the exhaust. So these ships have exhaust here. We have some options. Let's use this one. So we have this, but we have to split it first. So let's set the filter mode to point. Open the sprite editor, slice that by the size. So my cell size. We do not know how big these are, unfortunately. We have to use a calculator for this. So how do we find the size? So we have three lines here. So on the y, which is 384, we divide that by 3. 384 divided by 3, 128. On the y, 128. Okay. And then for the x, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we take the x here, which is 896, and divide that by 7, and it's 128 over 128. Now we slice it. In this case, we want the pivot to be on the top. We want the pivot to be on the top here. I don't know if it's necessary. We'll see. We'll see. We might have to change the pivot of that. So let's create this effect here. So we'll make a sprite. Call it, in this case, call it shape exhaust. Make sure it's above the background. Set the position to 0. Okay. We need an animator for this. And now we need an animator controller. Wait. Wait, not the script. I made the script here. Oh, and if you have questions, please. I made my mistake. I named this script here. Sorry about that. So let's say create animation animator control called that clean chip exhaust. This will just hold one animation. So now we go. Once we added that to our animator, we can go to window while we have the object selected, animation, create, make sure this is in the right folder. And now we just drag those sprites in here. Okay. So we have that, but the object itself has this square by default, so we have to change that to the first sprite of that animation. Now we have to reposition that. Let's make this child of the ship now, so it will move with the ship. Take the animation, and move it a little bit to the correct position. I think this is a bit too fast. Let's try 30. I don't know. 20 maybe. Something like that. Okay, maybe move that a bit closer. A little bit like that. Okay. Okay, we have that. It's time to create two scripts here. One for the player, one that will hold. So this script, the player will call the properties that the ships have in common. Then we'll have a specific behavior for each one. Let's add both these scripts here to our object. What else? We need two things. We need a rigid body and a collider, but this time I think we want a edge collider or a polygon collider, because this is a weird shape. So let's add the rigid body to D. In this case, we'll say kinematic. We only move it by script. Constraints. Let's make sure the rotation does not is not even though this will not have physics, but let's make sure there's no rotation. And then a polygon collider. Now we have to drag this around. Doesn't need to be perfect. something like that. Something like this. This will, with this will receive damage from the enemy. We want this to be trigger, I think. No physics. That's it. Now let's change the tag here to player. Physics, I don't think will have a specific layer. Let's open those two scripts. Let's start with the player for now. Actually, okay, for now let's just say HP here. So public int HP, public int max HP, and then in the start function we make the HP by default the maximum HP, and maybe we have here some get hit function. So public void get hit. We want to know how much damage this hit has, so we make a parameter int damage. Okay. Now, if this damage does not kill our player, we just subtract it from the HP. But if it does kill our player, then we have to destroy the player. We have to do the stuff on game over. So let's check first if HP minus damage is strictly bigger than 0. And then if that is the case, we just subtract from the HP the damage. Else, that means if the damage kills us, we set it to 0 just to make sure. And then we have some on game over. We'll do that later. Let's do some simple movement for the ship. Yes, here. I was thinking maybe we can do it in the player here. We could do the movement here, but I'm not sure. Let's just do it in the specific player. So we need the rigid body in this case. So we'll say private rigid body to D. Here we get it. With the get component. We need a move speed, so let's say public move speed. And now we'll do this. We'll update the velocity of that rigid body every frame, so we have to do it in fixed update. Let's make a function for that. We say void movement, or I don't know. Yes, let's make a vector 2 that will represent the move direction. So it will say private vector 2 move direction, and in update we get that direction. So we'll use in Unity there are two ways to get input. One is you just say if input get key, and then you specify which key here an update, we check for input, but we use the horizontal and vertical axis. We'll say move direction is equal to input get key, not get key, sorry, get axis horizontal, and then that times vector to right plus input get axis vertical times vector 2 down. So what is this input get axis horizontal? That is, let us know if A or D are pressed, or the left and right arrows. So this is -1 when you go to the left and 1 when you go to the right, and 0 0 when you press nothing. And this is the same but for up and down movement. So obviously if you're not pressing anything, this will be 0 times this, it will be vector 2 0, and same here, if this is 0 then multiply with this will be vector 2 0. So now in the fixed update you can say rigid body linear velocity is equal move direction times move speed. And it's better to use the axis because when you go from not moving to moving, it does not happen instantly. So this, when you move, for example, on the horizontal axis, this goes from 0 to 1 or -1 over time, or over a period of time. So the movement looks smoother with this. Now it's time to test. Let's give it some HP, but it's irrelevant now. Move speed, I don't know. Yeah, let's test it. Oh, also we must have some colliders so that the ship does not go outside the view. But for that we need to change this collider to collider with physics. So this trigger is unchecked. Okay. I'll just make a empty object that will hold those colliders. Call edge collider holder. Can make some colliders. To the sprites square. Okay. Size that a little bit. Duplicate it. Now to place it on the other side, we just change this minus to plus here on the X. Now you have to do the same for up and down. Let's start with it. Now we duplicate it and then change this Y, same value but with minus. And I only added the sprite render to this so that we can see those colliders. Make sure they're not in the camera view. Now we can add to all of this a box collider 2D with physics, and then we can disable the sprite renderer. Let's rename this to edge collider. Okay, now when we're moving, we should not be able to leave the view. Okay. Oh, we do have an issue here because up goes down and down goes up. The controls are. Yes, I made a mistake here. We do not multiply with vector 2 down. We multiply with vector 2 up. So always when you do this move direction, these need to be positive. those vector 2's. So the right is positive because it's 1 0 basically, and this also needs to be positive, which is 0 on the x and 1 on the y. Okay. I don't know. I don't know what to say. It's pretty good to me. Let's make one, but before that, actually, I'm looking at this, and we have an issue with the backgrounds because they do not overlap correctly. They do not overlap correctly somehow. Okay, let me see. Yeah, you see here, this is not, it does not overlap correctly here. Not that big of an issue, I think. Let me just play this item again. Yeah, so at some point it does not overlap correctly, but we'll deal with that later. Let's make one enemy so that we can oh, and also this will change. This is not a game manager actually. Oh, okay. Never mind. It's okay. We'll have levels in this game, in this team. So we'll have not the script, but the name of the scene changed that to level 1. To make an enemy. Okay, so what we have here. Start double this one. But first, make sure it fits correctly. It doesn't matter actually. Okay, let's say normal. We'll say not normal, but we'll say easy enemy. Okay, easy enemy. We'll have enemies of different strengths. We'll just say this one is easy enemy 1. Okay, we add the sprite first to our sprite renderer. Change the layer to 1. Okay, let's see what that is. It's on top of our layer. Okay, resize that a little bit. Rotate it 180 degrees so it looks towards the player on the z-axis when you do this. So for 2D, when you rotate something, you do it on the z-axis. Okay. Let's see. We need a rigid body for this. Kinematic, moved only by script. A box collider. Actually, let's use a polygon collider. So it's precise. With trigger. Yeah, this will not have physics, so it's trigger. Okay, let's see. Let's position this. Okay, something like that. Now let's change this from player to enemy here. Enemy. Also, we might have to put this into the different layers. That way, the player does not interact with itself. Okay. let's make two scripts for this as well. One for the properties that they have in common and one for the specific behavior. So let's do enemy. And excuse me 1 second, I'll be right back. So like I said, we have two separate scripts, one for the enemy and one for the specific behavior. So we have enemy script and easy enemy one. Now I have to decide what this will do because I did not prepare anything. Basically freestyling this game. Okay, let's see. Okay, let's make this guy shoot something. But first, the same way we did here with the player to receive damage, we'll copy the whole code and put it in the enemy script. So it's the same logic. But let's start actually with the green sheet, which is the player. Make up a projectile. This shots here. Let's see what we have here. Oh, I see. Okay, so from what I can see here, we have an animation for shooting, one for the projectile and one for the explosion, what I can see here. Let's start with this one, okay? I'll just call this green sheet projectile one. Um, Now we can do this in two ways, okay? One is we check for the collision on the projectile, and the other is we check it on the enemy. I don't know which one is better. I think we'll do it on the enemy. Let's do it on the enemy. So first of all, we need a sprite renderer. Okay, place that. Let's put it one layer above the player in the enemy. Let's add our sprite. Okay, make sure that all of these here, first of all, the pixels per unit are correct. So we set it to exactly the size of the image. The filter mode to point. And in this case, we have to rotate it 90 degrees. Like that. Okay. Let's see what else we need here. We need actually we need an animator here because we have a shooting animation for this. That's one thing. Then we need two tags here. you have to create two more tags. One for the player, we'll call it player damage, and the other one, but actually, yeah, player damage and enemy damage. This one will have the tag player damage. We need a circle collider in this case because you want to place it here at the end of the projectile without physics, so it's trigger. Okay, something like that. Let's see what we need an animator because this one has an animation actually. So we have to create an animator controller. This is sorry. So Wim, how is it so far? Does this make sense? Is it easy to understand?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So now we have to make an animator for this because when you shoot it, it has an animation at the beginning. So we do that animation and then we transition to this static sprite. So animation animator controller set up in projectile one. Add that here to our animator. Let's do the first animation. So green projectile one. Start. Let's start for that. Add all of those like that. See. A bit too fast. Say 20. Okay. It's good to me. That's the first one, and then green projectile. Chip projectile one. Let's say I don't know. Title. I don't know. I'll just go title. Doesn't matter that much. For this one, it's just one sprite, so you can even set the speed to 1. We don't care. Now in here, this is the default one, and we want to transition to that, but we take exit time here, meaning it will wait some time before transitioning. And in here, you see here this value here is exit time. So what that is since it is 0 now, it will transition instantly. But if I say 1, it will wait the whole animation, the whole start animation, and then transition to idle. That's what we want. So 1 means 100% of the animation. Okay, if I say 0.5, then it waits half of the animation. So that's what this setting is. Okay, so once we have that, this will stay in idle. And let's make sure that here the start animation does not loop here. We uncheck this to not loop. Okay, let's see. Here we have to create some folders. One, a player sheets. One for enemy sheets. And then enemy projectiles. And then player projectiles. Now we can save this in here. Now here on the ship, we want to specify a position where this spawns. But let's make sure that this one has the pivot on the bottom, or not the bottom. Let me see actually. Let me see that. Where is it? Since these are just one image, all of them, you can set it to single here, and then But by doing this, I think I messed up the animation. Let me see that. Okay, does not work anymore. I have to do this. Okay, same for the idle. To delete it because I changed that from multiple to simple and it messed up the animation. Now let's make sure that that pivot is actually not down, but to the left of all of these. Let me look at that. Okay. So we need actually a specific position, not on the for each one. Okay. So let's see where that is here. I'll just drag this here. And it is this here where it says custom pivot. That's the position of the pivot. Okay, we need to copy this actually. So I cannot click on that, unfortunately. So I'll just comment this in a script just to save those. Just to save those. Okay, so now we can close this, save it, and place that pivot on all of these by selecting all of this. And now we go here where it says pivot, set it to custom. And now we just add those values. So this is for the X, and this is for the Y. So now the pivot should be on the bottom of that. Let me see. Oh, yeah. Also, another issue now is that since we changed the pivot, the collider position changed. So we have to reposition that with this offset here. Okay, okay, Michael. Now this here needs to have a script. Yes, needs to have a script that will hold the information about this. I'm just thinking. We might need two separate scripts. Okay, let's just say this is from the player. So player damage. Player damage. Player damage, it will just have the value rather than some other things maybe. And also let's make a specific script for this. We'll say green ship projectile 1. So we want to have this because sometimes we want to have some extra effects on those. For example, we want an explosion when it touches something. Now let's say here, make some folders for this. Let's say enemy ships, ship. So let's drag our green. Oh, actually, not easy enemy one here. Also, another folder for the player, ships. And then let's say one folder for the enemy projectiles and one folder for the right, let's say enemy attacks. Okay. Can delete this from here. And here, oh, it disappeared because I changed it to another folder. Okay. So let's say in here, okay, let's just actually add to the player here some things. For example, let's say public init damage, and then in our specific behavior, we say private or public actually public player script. We connect this to our player script. So in the start function, we get it from our object. Now I'm looking at this, and I think I also want to take this move speed from here, okay, and move it to the player here, and then in here we take this move speed from the player script. So say player script that move speed. There's some things like public float fire counter, and then fire speed. This counter is 0 by default. So what this is, it will be cooldown for shooting, basically. In the update function, we add the time to that variable, fire counter plus equals time delta time. But we want to only add this to this if this is smaller or equal to our fire speed. So we'll say if fire counter is smaller than our fire speed or even equal, then we add that time. Okay, and then here in our specific behavior, let's say public game object main attack, let's say pick up. And then in update, let's make some logic for that. Now we need a place where this projectile spawns on the ship. We have to create a transform somewhere. But before that, I'd like to see the animation one more time. Yeah, it is working correctly. So we can place it exactly on the top of the ship. So let's go to that. Create a new object as a child. This will be good transform. Let's say move it here, somewhere like that. I think. Now we have to go back to our player, not the specific behavior, because all of these ships will have a point from where you shoot. So let's say others, say public void transform, shoot transform, let's say. And then here in our specific behavior, we say if if player, well, actually, first of all, we check for input. So we say if input, and I don't know, let's say spacebar. Now we have to decide if this is an automatic attack or a semi-automatic attack. In other words, do we spawn projectiles while holding space, or when the space bar is pressed down? Let's do just get key. So while we press. Now we specify key code, and then we can specify any key, in this case space. Now we check for that that player fire counter. So we say if player script fire counter, if that is bigger or equal to player script fire speed, and it's time to shoot. But first we take that counter and reset it to 0. So we reset the counter, then we spawn our projectile. So we say input get key. Sorry, not input, sorry, my bad. Instantiate that attack, that player transform should transform with. Now we don't want to specify the rotation, I think. So I think this should work. This should work here. Now this we want to add this function to our update, so we check every frame what the input should. Now the projectile itself, we want to give it a speed. So let's go to that script. Which is we actually forgot to add this to our prefab. Let's add that. Okay. Now let's make sure this one is correct as well. Okay. Player damage as well. Now, in the specific behavior, we need the rigid body of that projectile. But I'm looking at this and we're missing the rigid body. Okay, we're missing the rigid body. So let's add that rigid body to D. Not dynamic, kinematic, no rotation. So here in the specific behavior, first we say private rigid body. We need the rigid body. Okay, this will have a move speed, so let's say public float move speed. And at the start we just set that linear velocity y equal to the move speed. That's it. For the specific behavior, now for the other script, which is the player damage, here you just want to save public int damage, just damage. Now the question is, do we do the collision in the player damage script, or do we do it in the specific behavior? Let's do it in the specific behavior. So here we'll add another variable, public game object, explosion pickup. So now, and also we want the player damage script. Oh, but I said we do the collision from the enemy. Yes, we do the collision from the enemy, so it's not necessary. Oh, never mind. The issue is we do have to spawn this explosion, so we do have to do it from here, actually. Yes, we do have to do it from here, it seems. So that means we cannot, we do not need a player damage script. We can just say it here, public damage. And then we say configure enter 2D. We check if it is an enemy. So if the collision compare tag is enemy, we do three things. Okay, the first one is we deal damage to that enemy. So we say yes, so collision get component enemy get hit and specify the damage. It will get hit by that amount of damage. So hit enemy, then we spawn explosion, visual effect, and that will be the position of this projectile. So just transform position. And it gives us an error because I don't know what this is actually. Yeah, I'm not sure what the issue is here. Okay. Transform that position. Then continue. Okay, now it works. I'm not sure what the issue was there. Okay, so we hit the enemy, we spawn the visual effect, and then we destroy this projectile. We say destroy. Now when we spawn this, we have to set the damage. So when we start here, when we spawn the projectile, let's also change the damage. So after we spawn it, we say that get component. But you see, the issue here is these projectiles. Okay, I guess it works, but okay, let's just agree projectile one. Damage equal to wait, where's our damage here? I don't see it. Oh yes, from the player script. Of course, from the player script has the damage. So we'll say equal player script damage. Now we have to create a prefab for the explosion. So let's go here now. Sync create a 2D sprite. We'll call this the same green one ship projectile one but I didn't say explosion. Or I say explosion, just to make it shorter. Okay, make it layer 3, so it's on top of the projectile. Then let's add one sprite of that explosion. Okay, like that. We have to rotate it 90 degrees. Okay. I was thinking if we do need to change the pivot to this as well, and I think we do need to do that. So let's select no, actually let's check what those values are. Okay. Let's do that for this as well. So that way when we spawn this explosion, it's exactly in the same position as the projectile. That's the idea. So here let's say custom, that, save. Now the Y as well. Okay. This needs an animator. Okay. Also, we want, after the explosion, we want to remove this object from the scene. So you know that you can place events on the at specific points in an animation. So at the end, we want to have a function that destroys this object. So let's create a script for that. We just call it destroy object. So this one will just have a function that destroys an object. So we can place that at the end of the animation. Oh, and also this projectile. Let's say we do not hit an enemy. Let's destroy it if it does not hit anything. But we already have these edge colliders on the edges of the view. So let's just destroy it on collision with that, because it's simpler. But first, these colliders here need to have an attack, so that we know that these are edge colliders. Let's create another tag, edge colliders. Change the tag to all of them. And now this is physics based, but I think it should work with triggers as well. We'll see. So if it's enemy, we do this, but let's say if it is, okay, we have to test it. I'm not sure if it will work. So we check for edge collider. In that case, we just destroy it. Or we could spawn the explosion as well. We have to test if this works. Now I said that I will make a script to destroy the explosion once the animation is finished. So let's open that. We just make a public void function. Public void destroy object. Here we just say display game object. Okay, now this will be on the explosion. But first we have to create that explosion. So let's create an animator for that. Create animation animator. Winch ship explosion 1. Okay, animation create ship explosion 1. Now we just drag those sprites here. See how that looks first. Too fast. Looks nice. Okay. And here at the end we place that event. So on the last frame we say, but first we have to actually add that script to our object. So destroy object script. Or we just say destroy at the end. Okay. Let's save that here, but in a new folder. Let's say here visual effects. Okay. Now we have the projectile and the explosion. Let's add the explosion to our prefab here. This one. Green explosion. Okay. Now this projectile will have a certain speed. I don't know. We'll have to experiment with that. Now let's go to our enemy. Enemy. And just destroy it here. HP 0. Just to make sure it gets damage. Okay. So, and let's give it some HP and see if our projectile works. And also, we must check if our projectile gets destroyed once it reaches the edge collider. So here, let's give it some HP. 20 HP. Okay. Our green chip here, does it have everything? No, we have to place the transform here, so the should transform. This will be the position where the projectile spawns. Let's say fire speed 0.5, so that means 2 projectiles per second. Move speed 4. What is this? Why is the move speed here? I don't know why the move speed is. Oh, yes, we moved the move speed from the specific behavior to the player script. We have to reset that. Damage, let's say 5. And time to test. Oh. Okay, that's very weird behavior. Let's see why that is. Okay, let's see. Okay, it seems that the event on that explosion is not working correctly. So let's go to our explosion. See, let's look at that animation one more time. Oh, yes, there's no function selected here. Okay, let's try that one more time. Okay, so you see that it does hit that edge collider. For some reason it spawns from the other ship. I'm not sure why that is. Let's see why that is. Okay, so here we specified our should transform, so I'm not sure why that happens like that. I'm not sure. That's one issue, and the other issue is with the explosion. This needs to be rotated as well, I think. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. There are some issues. So let's first look at why does that spawn? the incorrect position, first of all. Oh, yes, my bad. So you see here when we spawn it, I say we spawn it at that transform, but we must see that position, actually. Cannot convert, yes. So we also have to say, specify the rotation. So we just maintain the rotation of the prefab here. That was the issue, my bad. That was a very weird bug. Okay, you see, but why did that enemy die there? I'm not sure. It has 20 HP, so I'm not sure what that happened. Let's check our damage on that. Also, where do we spawn this explosion here? Yes, that is the issue. The explosion does not spawn at that exact point because we said that the rotation is 0, 0, 0, but we need the prefab to have 90 on the Z. So we have to say actually the rotation of the prefab here at the end. That's one issue. Now the other issue is why does it get the enemy get destroyed by a projectile with 5 damage, because the enemy has 20 damage, 20 HP. So okay, let's not shoot immediately. Make sure that the HP here is. Oh, I see. Okay, I made a mistake. You see, I set the HP to 20. We need to set the max HP to 20. Make sure that the player has the same. Yes, the player has the same. Okay, let's see. You see that the explosion is still spawn. It still spawns in the incorrect place, it seems. Okay, but why? Wait. What's this? Yes. Why this? Okay, they get destroyed by that. Okay, that works. But what's with the? Okay. Yes. My bad. Okay. We made another mistake, which is here in the collision with the enemy. Also, we want to maintain that explosion rotation. Again, the reason is quaternion identity means 0, 0, 0. We want 0, 0, 90, which is on the prefab. So we just set the rotation to the rotation of the prefab. Now when we shoot at the enemy, that projectile should spawn in the correct position. I mean the explosion. Yes, it does work now. See? Okay. I think we'll stop for today. I think. I also have to think of elements in this game because until now I just freestyled it. So Wim, please, if you have questions or anything, you want to tell me. Wim, are you here? Okay then. I guess that's it for today. Thank you very much, Wim, for helping me record this. And I'll see you tomorrow.